Hello, Madam Bolu.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm late. Sorry. Very sorry.
Problem, sir. You like you're still in transit?
But I'm close. I'm close now.
Okay, sir.
But at least we can have our KLPs.
Okay.
So, but how far? How has it been going?
It's been going well.
Before you take your KLP, let me ask you that how practical can you would you say you have gotten some practical insights? I mean, when I say practical now, I mean something like you're able to start seeing and using around you like now.
Yes, I have.
Okay. Yes. So meaning that there's still some haziness around it.
Maybe at least maybe just a little, but so far I think yes, there are quite a number of things that I've seen that are useful around me that the class has made very useful around me.
Okay. Can you give me an example?
Okay. So, of course, we for example, like the work breakdown structure now, and how to, and even like all the management plan, precisely the resource management plan and all of that. Normally, in our normal day lives, we know these are things that we are meant to do, but we probably didn't think of it as so deeply like that. So, for example, now,
For example,
can you hear me, sir?
I can't hear you. For example, yes. For example.
Oh, okay. I said, for example, now the concept of work package and activity, and okay. So I just finished the LMS. I just finished module 7 now, where we talked about the critical path method, the networking, and I really got a hold of that. The practice, in fact I spent a long time getting to understand it, and I made sure I really understood it. I did a little bit of it.
Which part?
That's networking.
Network diagram.
Yes, network diagram. Yeah, that's what I mean. Sorry. The network diagram. Yes, I spent a very long time on it, and I really, really understood it. I did it during my MBA, but knowledge, I'd forgotten a little about it. But by the time
they taught you network diagram in MBA.
Yes, I did it for my MBA. Yes, I did it for my MBA. Yes, it was. I did because I did operations.
You understand it then or what?
No, I did understood it then, but knowledge is I'd forgotten some things about it.
Yes.
So I had to practice again, and I got a hold of it. And when they were teaching us, then they didn't teach us in relating to. It wasn't really in the full context of project management because of it's MBA. They teach another different side. So they didn't really explain it in knowledge of handling projects, things like that. We just understood that network diagram and the critical path method and why it's important, because it was a subject, or it was a course under operations research.
Okay.
So they didn't really teach it in the context of project management. But when you're now looking at it, relating it to handling projects, I really got to understand it. And in fact, for that module, I think I spent almost like 2 hours, because I wanted to understand it in the project management, in handling projects. So that helped as well, and I was able to really understand why you actually need to do those things, why it is important to to determine the critical path method, because when you're handling projects, to know how long a particular project to take, using the network diagram and things like that. I was really able to relate with it. And also work as well. I mean, these are things that we do when you have something big, you break it down. I mean, work package, you break it down to have like the minimum level of what you can handle. But I mean, it was the normal thing, but you couldn't really understand it. We didn't really know the importance, yes, that's the word, of doing those things, and why also how you can also further even break down work package into activities, to handle things in bits and bits and bits so that you conclude that level.
Beautiful.
So yeah, so so that is like my short or summarized explanation of how I can relate things I've read so far.
Can you tell me in one sentence a practical benefits in real life of the concept of critical path?
Okay, the concept of critical paths. Okay, so for example, for the critical path method, you cannot, how will I put it? I'm trying to put it in the project number one cannot, it cannot be longer than the critical path, if I can put it that way. Yes. Okay. So a project that cannot be, if it is longer or shorter, it might be a little bit of problem, so to say. Hello, sir.
I can see that you understand critical path in your life, and that's because if you are not seeing it yet.
Sir, I didn't get you. It's breaking.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
I said, from the way you have spoken, it is obvious that you understand critical path, but there is a gap in your understanding. You have not been able to understand it from a practical point of view. It's kind of too theoretical. And the critical path is a very important concept that can radically change the way you plan, the way you manage people, the way you manage events, the way you manage activities.
Okay. Okay. Another thing I know about critical path is that okay, I don't know if it's still theoretical, but I would say, like, compared to the other parts, the earliest start time and the earliest, it always has the same earliest and latest start and
that's
finish.
good.
It is still theory.
Book, those ones are good. Yes, it's good to know, but that's a book. I mean, practical, something that you can go and use to wow your team tomorrow, something like that.
Oh,
now,
okay.
Points that I want you to get is that all activities are equal, but some are more equal than others. Huh?
Yes.
Did you read the book Animal Farm? I mean, don't forget.
Animal Farm, I did, but I think I forgot.
All activities are equal, but some are more equal than others.
Equal than the others, yes.
You know why? You should know already like this now.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to say something.
Yeah, what I want to tell you is that the activities on the critical path, they take a huge chunk of your attention. They take a huge chunk of your resources. They take a huge chunk of your thinking because they are the most critical. That's why it's called the critical path. The activities that are on that critical path, they must not fail. They must not lag. There must be no delay. Any delay on any activity on the critical path will automatically translate to elongation of the duration of the project.
Yes.
So what this means is that on a normal day, for example, you are managing a project. On a normal day, staff A comes to you, asks for, please, I won't come tomorrow. Say, no problem, go. Staff B comes to you, and I won't come next tomorrow. Don't worry, go. But staff C comes to you and say, please, we cannot afford that you should not come. He said, why? The activity you are working on is on the critical path. What that means is that if there is a delay from your side, that delay will automatically cascade into elongating the project. So that way, you know, the problem is, hello, are you there?
Yes, I am.
The problem is that it is usually not possible for a human to pay maximum attention to every possible task, every possible activity, to pay maximum serious, detailed attention. So, because you don't want to waste your attention, your maximum attention is supposed to be given to the activities on the critical path. You understand? You know why? Because the other activities, they have floats. The other activities have floats. There are some activities that, even if they delay for 5 days, it might not cause any serious damage.
Yes.
And there are some activities that 1 day delay last song can cause a lot of damage to the schedule of the project. You understand? And that is the reason why project managers are able to manage projects in a smarter way. But it's not just about running about, jumping up and down. It is also important for you to know which ones to put massive attention and which ones that you can still have some form of relaxed attention. Because you need to know. That's what I said, all activities are equal, but some are more equal than others.
And the others.
What this means is that ordinarily, all of them are important. All activities are important, but some are more critical than the rest. So your role as a project manager is that you want to identify what are those critical activities. So that those ones, you want to put a lot of more and more attention. We are not saying that for all the rest, you are allowed to be lax or you are allowed to be, unprofessional about it. We're just saying that, okay, if you have to give more attention to something, which one should take more of your attention?
Yes.
So, we have overflowed this matter, but I think you have gotten some lessons from here.
Yes, I have. Thank you,
Madam Obolade, our market.
Yes,
She has been there in the background. She's just listening to us. Right?
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone.
You have offended us, so you deprived us of your wisdom on Sunday.
Sorry, I could not join you that day.
Okay, so now tell us publicly, did you watch the video?
I watched the videos, yes.
You watch everything from beginning to pali to pali?
No, I am still watching. I've not finished watching.
Where have you watched? Where have you not watched?
I thought you want to ask me what I picked from last lesson.
No, I'm not asking you one. I'm asking you everything now. Tell me, what have you watched and what have you not watched from last class?
I'm watching the class recording as well.
Tell us now. Sure, you cannot give us an overview of what you have watched here.
I remember the concept of rolling wave planning, where we talked about progressive elaboration.
Okay.
So, and
okay, what about it?
It's that process where we had significant amounts of information, where we get significant amounts of information while we are working on the project. Because at the beginning, there will be limited information, but as the project goes on, we have more accurate information to work with that becomes available.
Okay.
More details become clearer while the project, during the execution of the project.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell me some of the tasks that we discussed in the last on Sunday? Can you just tell me how many can you talk about?
We started with determining appropriate project methodology.
Yeah, on Sunday?
On Sunday, yes.
Yeah, that does not sound like a Sunday thing.
We talked about scope, plan and manage scope.
Okay. 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 The videos in the LMS. Can you give me what have you done in regards to the LMS? The videos in the LMS.
I'm still watching. I've not finished. I'm not up to date with where we are supposed to be, but I am on it. I hope to cover
What
more.
have you watched? What have you done? Where have you got into?
Module 5.
Okay. So module 5. Module 5. Ṣé course kan nìyẹn? Module 5, is that not cost? Have you worked on module 5?
Module 5 is control scope. Project cost man. Yes, you're right. Cost management, control scope. We also talked about controlling scope in module 5.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Madam Obola, thank you very much. So, Madam Obola, if you've been able to get to that level, then it means you should have done schedule management there. You've watched the video on schedule management.
You know, a lot of those videos you have to watch and rewatch before these things will stick. So
schedule management is in module 6, not 5.
Oh,
I've not reached module 6.
If I'm right, yes, I think it's in module 6, not 5.
Hey, Madam Bolu, is your own surname Oboladeni? You are preventing
no,
me from
because you said that she should have known.
He's helping me. Thank you.
Hey, no help her. I want to force her to know that she needs to put in more work.
Yes, I already understand that.
Okay. So I don't need to put that be.
You will plug it. Thank you.
Okay. And the reason why I'm actually saying all this is that a lot of people would just erroneously think that they don't need to watch the videos in the LMS. And sincerely, if you don't want to watch, you can escape. But for those who have watched, you will understand the fact that you will be losing out on some bigger contexts. I'm sure you have the student manual, so yes. You know, good. So you now you can do some comparison to see the content of the student manual and the
content of the video.
Yes, and the content of the video. If you look at it, you see like the student manual is just kind of like a bullet point overview explanation, kind of. Yeah. But the videos actually give you some context to it. Of course, the videos are really largely the old syllabus, but nevertheless, have you not after knowledge, old syllabus or not, especially when these things have their way of coming back to even further explain this new syllabus in detail.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay, so let me I've been on my phone all the while. Now I'm in the office. Let me switch to the computer. Link, share link in the group. The class link. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to shift. Okay, Madam Bolu, you want to let me share the link, Abi? I've been looking for it. That's it. Okay, beautiful. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Recording in progress. Recording in progress. Recording in progress.
Madam Bolu, where did you stop?
We finished plan and manage scope. So we are supposed to start with plan and manage budget and resources.
Okay. Interesting. We are slow, guy. We are not jumping as we should be jumping. Anyway, I think it's because we are trying to make some small explanation here and there. Engineer Yekin, we see you. Hello, engineer. Are you with us?
Yes, sir. I'm with you.
Káàbọ̀, sórí ètò.
Yes, sir.
Apologies for the delay. Okay. Ọ̀gá Adédàmọ́lá, how market? Hello, Mr. Adédàmọ́lá. Mr. Adédàmọ́lá, are you with us? Okay, just about sharing your screen, please. That's a part of that. Three, four. 1, 2, 4. Okay, so Madam Bolu, we're supposed to start plan and manage budget and resources.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. Okay. All right. Okay, so I welcome you all once again to this class. Sorry, we are late, not even a bit late. We are late. I late for today. You know, so let's see how we can get some value out of what we have left. Okay, so how to manage budget and resources. An important prerequisite to this is a good understanding of cost management. A good understanding of cost management. And with the understanding of cost management, what we are saying essentially is just understanding the concept of budgeting, understanding some terminologies that have to do with how you manage costs and how you control costs on a project. Okay, We talk about estimates. Interestingly, we have been discussing estimates long before now. We've come across estimates several times when we were talking of what do you call it? Analogous, parametric, and all of those things. We've discussed all of those ones before now. Okay, so the same reason why you have to estimate your need for duration of the project or duration of some activities on the project, you also need to estimate when it comes to issues of costs. Okay. Now, here we are again, different types of estimation. Analogous estimation, we've explained this. This one is when you are just looking at something you have done in the past or something that has existed before and you want to adapt from there. The advantage is that it's very fast. It has the least complication. But the disadvantage here is that it is the least accurate, because it's not all the time that all factors would always be similar. It's not all the time that factors will be similar. The fact that you did a similar thing in quotes a year ago does not mean that the factors that led to those estimates then still remain the factors that are there today. So you need to take that into consideration. So parametric, that's another interesting one that is not too time consuming. It's like when you say one yard is this amount, how much would be 50 yards, that kind of thing. So it may not necessarily be very accurate too, because don't forget that you are the decision of how much it will be is based on you knowing the amount for the base metric. For example, you say how much per yard. It means you want to use your base knowledge or historical information of knowing the amount per yard for you to be able to now know, okay, how much for 50 yards. So there's still some dependence on having some historical information. So it is as accurate as how much of historical information about the accuracy of historical information that you have. Bottom-up estimation is the most accurate and it's very, very challenging. Challenging in the sense that it wants you to go to the basis. It wants you to go back and go and start doing your from the small components, from the small constituents. That's where you want to start your estimation efforts. And then you estimate up, estimate for the small components, then you start aggregating, bringing all those to a final estimate. So it is the most accurate, but it's time consuming. It's the most accurate, but it's time consuming. That's on one part. On the other part, we have something here called order of magnitude, or then it's the common estimation types. Okay, so how do we approach this? You understand that at the beginning of a project, in fact, at the beginning of anything, when what you want to do is still far away, you realize that there is a very, very high probability that your whatever estimate you come up with will not be accurate. What I mean is, for example, today now, can you estimate the cost or what naira to dollar will be by December? They said, I don't think any human being can estimate that. You can't. But there are times in which you need to come up with a figure. There are times in which, because you need to draft a budget. As much as you don't have everything completely known, you should be able to work with your best guess. So to now guide our best guess, that's why we now have different types of estimation. The first one is called ROM, rough order of magnitude. That one is telling you can estimate, but with a very wide range. So you have like a rough, you have like a rough idea in your head. Then you go from minus 25% of that figure to plus 75% of that figure. So you have that very wide range as an estimate range for that thing you're estimating.
That one is usually used when at the very beginning, in which you are estimating for things that are still far away and you have little understanding or little certainty or little clarity about it. Then the next one is called the definite estimate. That's the one, to some extent, that is closer to reality in terms of you have a definite estimate when you are close to, when you get more information. Let me just put it like that. When you have more information, when you have more clarity, then you can have a more accurate estimate. Accurate in the sense that the range for this one is now -5% to +10%. Get that? Then you now have phased estimate. What do we mean by phased estimate? It's more of like an estimation. It doesn't have specific range, but it's more of like the figures can be changing based on escalating reality. Okay, how do I explain it? Okay, let me get the cleaner definition. Okay. Phased estimates are frequently used when the project is large or lengthy, or we are developing something new that is untried before. So phased estimating approach recognizes that it is impractical to demand a complete estimate at the beginning of the production cycle. So each decision point make 2 estimates. At each decision point, you make 2 estimates. That is, what you're just saying here is that you are not making one definitive estimate at any point in time. You are making an estimate, knowing fully well that, okay, this is like an initial figure, and then at another point in time, then you can now come up with something that is more accurate. Then maybe at another point in time, you come up with something that is more, it's a kind of, it's similar to the concept of, what do you call it? Progressive elaboration. Okay. Phased estimating is a favorite among project managers because it requires cost and schedule commitments for only one phase of the project at a time. So a phased estimating approach recognizes that it is impractical. Okay. Instead, break down the whole project into phases, each of which is considered a project. So what they are saying with phased estimates is that you are not estimating for the whole project at once. The project is broken down into phases. And at the beginning of each phase, as you are moving from phase to phase, you are reviewing your estimates again as appropriate. Project governance. When you hear the word governance, what does it mean? Governance. Governance just means like an administrative oversight to ensure things are going properly. So project governance is a way of, is a system that is put in place, to guide the project management system or processes and ensure that they are done the right way. Now, budget management is a critical project oversight and within the purview of project governance. Deviations in budget, in scope, in schedule, or resources or quality will impact the project, of course. So project governance tells you whom these issues will impact and how to deal with them. Tailor cost estimation approach to phases of the project lifecycle. You see, a lot of times, or let me say sometimes, depending on the complexity of the project or the kind of organization in which the project is being executed, you now have your PMO, project management organization, that serves like an over-the-top oversight to manage project managers and projects. We'll still come there, we'll get there. By the time we are talking about business environments, the domain of business environment, we'll talk a lot more about PMOs and project governance. So when we get there, we'll explain more. Compliance is very key because as a project manager, you would have to comply with many things. Because don't forget, you have your EEFs. There are a lot of EEFs around you that you just have to look for how to comply. Projects must be compliant with internal and external standards, government standards, corporate policies, product or project quality, project risk. So the project compliance plan is a part of the project management plan. Hello, Madam Bolu, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Can you explain what is meant by that statement? The project compliance plan is a sub-plan of the project management plan. Can you explain?
Is a sub plan because yes, so it means that it is like part of the project management plan. It is an important document to the project management plan because, like you said, when you're planning a project, you need to put into consideration the internal and the external factors that can affect the project. So meaning you must comply with, for example, if you are in, external factors, what are the regulations that this project must follow before it can be successfully executed or come to life? So that's what I understand by.
No. There is a very important component that you have left out. And that's the component I'm even asking you for, sir. Do you understand the concept of project management plan and the constituents of a project management plan?
Yes.
Are you sure? But you did not mention it now.
Or maybe I don't understand your question.
Okay. We all know that a project management plan. Okay. Let me just tell you the answer straight away so I don't disturb you too much. Project management plan is a mother plan, and it consists of other sub plans.
Yes.
Subsidiary plans. Some call them sub plans. Some call them subsidiary plans. Do you understand that concept?
Yes.
Can you explain it?
Okay, so what it means is that there are other plans in the project management plan. The project management plan is like you said, the mother, like the overall plan for the project, and then inside that plan you have other plans as well.
Can you give me some of the other plans that you have in your project management plan?
Okay, you have the risk management plan, you have
Okay.
the quality management plan, you have the cost management plan, procurement management plan, yes. I've mentioned risk. You have stakeholder management plan, communication management plan. You have the scope baseline, schedule baseline, cost baseline. What else? Yes.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, the most important part that I just wanted to get out of this is that your project. I shared a document for you now. You know, when I was telling you in the last class that it was in the last class when I shared some templates that I said you will not open. Madam
yes.
Bodu, you told me that you open and you did not open it. See now, you see life? You see life outside? When I was telling you then that people don't open, that's why we don't send. If you had been the kind of people that will be opening, I would have bombarded you with a lot of relevant materials. But I cannot kill you people now. If I send you material, you not even open it. And you promise that you open it. You promise. Dr. Sakatu promised.
I will open it today.
Are you?
I will set it as a matter. I will open it today.
Engineer Yekin, did you open the templates I sent? No result found.
No.
You see
I
now.
was recovering from the last class now. I just finished watching the video this morning for the last class.
Which one? She Saturday, Abi Sunday.
I attended Saturday class. It was Sunday now. I attended Saturday class. It
Okay.
was Sunday class I missed, and I watched the video.
Okay. And so you did not see the documents I shared in the class in the WhatsApp group.
Like Word, like this.
That's the last one I shared. I shared a zip file earlier. That one, that thing is
Zip
gold.
file.
You
I
have paid for
don't see
it.
any.
You will not see it. You will not see it. $dollars. I'm sure if you had written dollar, you will have seen it. Hey, you people have paid for this thing. You people have paid for this thing. You could have as well gone to do a 70,000 naira project management training. Sincerely, if this is the level of commitment you want to be giving, just go and do 70,000 naira project management training. Yeah. You finish everything in 3 days. You are done. You know.
We will change.
Okay.
As time goes on, we will change. Let me
Time
say I will change.
Okay. Which time? Which stage are you talking about? Which lawa, you know? Week 3 malawa. Say 3 me, week 4.
And that's why I have to cancel all the schedule for today's class. I cancel all other important schedule.
Okay, Oga. I've not heard from Mr. Adedamola. What is the proof that is in class? Mr. Adedamola, oh, he has gone. Oh my God. Okay. Madam Obalade, is it safe to assume that you are with us? Kai, I think the silence has answered the question already.
Yes, I'm with you. Yes.
Okay. No wahala. Thank you very much. So, what was I saying, sir?
We're explaining project management plan. You wanted to bring out something about compliance.
Yes. I think where I was coming from was that I was trying to explain to us project management plan. See, you people, you better. I know it's hard. Say, look at me that I'm even talking. It's hard. I'm yawning. I was in traffic when I started the class. I was just rushing down. It's not like it's easy. Sincerely, I can imagine. I know it's not easy. That means I've been in meetings since morning. Now, the meeting was supposed to finish. This meeting was supposed to finish like 1. So I will rush down to the office, get 30 minutes extra time and then get to office by 2. Unfortunately, the meeting did not finish until almost 1:30. So coming down was raining heavily in Ibadan here, Kai. So there was traffic. So even that 2:30 guy, I was still in traffic. I was still coming down. So I know it's not easy, but what do? We need to get value now. And we're in a project. There's definitely start and end time. So if you refuse to dance when the drum is out, if you start dancing when drum is no more out, you're on your own, I mean, Madam Bolu, why will you call somebody who is dancing when drum is not out?
I cannot say
we remember.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I'm not the one that said that. So please, now that the drum is out, let's give our best. See, I know it's hard. I know it's tough. It's tough. I can imagine, but you just have to keep trying. You just have to keep trying. That template I sent last. I sent one template. That was 4 days ago, 3 days ago. I just came across that template. It's not from it's not from PMI. I just came across it online. I was like, wow, this is good. This is good stuff. I actually used it for a project. There's a project I was working on. They asked me for an implementation plan. I said, okay, no problem. I know the reality is that some of all this theory we say in class, the truth is we don't follow all this theory in real life. That's the simple truth. And the reason why we don't follow this theory in real life is that a lot of times, some of all this big grammar I say in class might be an overkill, except you are working on a very big project. Maybe like a project like like an engineer here came, working on a project, a construction project of like, maybe the budget is 700 million naira. Those ones, you can't do skeletal planning for that kind of project. But on a project that the whole budget of the project is about 7 million or even 20 million, and this, a lot of things are clear, and you can just afford to just take some things for granted. The actual project management plan, you just do a 3-page overview, 5-page overview. It passes for that kind of level. Of another kind of level in which there are some ambiguities, you need to really take your time, pay attention to details. Then you can go into a lot more detail. So what I'm saying now is that, so I needed to just do a very short project management plan for someone for a project I'm working on. I just started. So, and I needed a template that was quick to quick to work with. So I just googled on it and I came across that one. I was like, wow, this is good. This is good. It already contained a lot of the headings and the items I needed. So I was simply just editing, removing. If I had to remove some sections I did not need, and boom, I created my 3-page version, and I was fine. So what led me to that discussion is the fact that when you're writing your project management plan or your implementation plan, project implementation plan, it contains a lot of sub-plans or sections. So your project compliance plan is one of the subsections or sub-plans that are under your project management plan. So it helps you. So now your project compliance plan helps you classify compliance categories, determine potential threats to compliance, analyze the consequences of non-compliance, determine necessary approach and action to address compliance needs. So lessons learned register. We've discussed this many times already. So you use this during and after projects. Start with budgets from previous similar projects. They contain valuable cost estimating information, both the successes and the shortcomings of your previous estimating activities. Okay, Mr. Adidamola, you're out again. Okay, Madam Abolade, do you mind reading this to us, please?
Estimate cost. Gather estimates for individual work packages. Check with the resource supplier to validate assumptions. Choose a suitable estimating technique according to context. Look for alternative costing options. Determine which units of measure to use. Consider impacts of risk on cost. Ensure that cost estimates are assigned to the right account. And ensure estimates include resource costs, table of estimates, and a list of assumptions.
Beautiful. 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 Thank you very much. Okay. So here you have estimate costs. Now you have estimate budget. So Madam Omobolade, what do we mean here? Are we confused? What's the difference between estimating costs and estimating budgets?
Budget is the plan you have in view with regards to how you want to spend your resources.
What do you mean? I don't understand. I don't get.
Budget is it's a plan that you have in view. Okay, I'm going into this project to what's my project. But costs are those the exact. I don't use the word
Okay.
cost. The exact. Help me out with the word, please. That you spend while you're on the project.
Read this.
Okay, estimate budget. Aggregate the estimated cost of individual activities or work packages to establish an authorized cost baseline. Ensure budget contains funding needed to complete the project as defined in the scope baseline and the project schedule. Measure project cost performance against.
Sorry, I didn't hear that last part, please.
Measure project cost performance against this cost baseline.
Do you understand what cost baseline means and the role it plays in cost performance measurement? Okay, we've explained the concept of baseline before. What do you remember of the concept of baseline? What's the meaning of baseline?
Baseline is like your, let's say, ground zero, your starting point.
Sorry, ground zero.
I'm
No.
trying to say like your starting point.
No. Okay, when we say we've discussed scope baseline in class, do you remember what we said about scope baseline?
Can't remember.
Okay, Madam Bolo, can you help us with scope baseline? We discussed scope baseline. Do you remember it?
Yes. Okay. Baseline. So baseline is like, okay, let me first start with what I understand by baseline. It's like a, let's say, like a template, like a basis of comparison of something. So scope baseline, it's like it's a document or it's an agreement by the stakeholders that the stakeholders have put together, and it gives the project a structure. It helps the project manager to know the structure, and it guides the project manager on how the work on the project should be done. And if I can remember, scope baseline is like an approved version of the scope statement, work breakdown structure, and work breakdown structure dictionary.
So summarily, what is a baseline in our own context here?
Okay, so baseline is like a template, like a basis of like comparison. What's the yes, it's like a template that the project manager can use to know how the structure of the project should go, and like a guidance, yes, to help the project manager to know how this project is supposed to go, what it's supposed to do to achieve the major purpose of the project, something like that.
Okay, so essentially, thank you very much for that. Essentially, a baseline it just means like, I remember the word I used. I said like cutoff points, basis for which you want to measure progress, basic for which you want to mark. You like basic for which you want to mark, as in that you want to define, is this right or wrong? Like your standard, your expectation standard. Your expectation standard. So for example, now when you're working on a project, you set up to say, okay, for scope matters on this project, this is what I'm expecting. This is my plan. This is what I'm working towards. This is the basis for which I want to, this is the basis for which I want to be evaluated. Or sorry, this is the basis for which I want the project to be evaluated in terms of in terms of if it's scope, in terms of scope, this is how I want my scope to be evaluated. This is how my scope will be evaluated. So in terms of cost now, in terms of cost now, you're not talking about say, okay, this is the cost that I want to work towards. This is the cost that I want to work towards. This is like the cost profile of what I want to work towards on the project. I don't know if I'm speaking a language that you can understand. I don't know if you're understanding me. I don't know.
Yes, I understand.
All right. Okay. Okay, so but I'm glad that we did an explanation before this technical definition, because this one is technical. The cost baseline is the approved version of the project budgets minus management reserve. This explains it. The cost base. Let me see who can explain this one. No, Madam Bolu, yeah, give it a try. Can you explain this diagram? Yeah,
well,
rack your head. Rack your head.
So you mean the project budget diagram?
Yes, explain it.
Lobato. Okay. Projects. So I'm trying to enlarge it. I want to see if I can, because the fonts are very small. Okay, thank you, sir. Okay. Management reserve, cost baseline, control, contingency. Okay, I think I'll just be defining if I say, okay, let me try. So this accounts package cost. Okay, so let's say the first bar, which is the project budget, is like the overall budget for the project, and management reserve is like the money that is reserved with for unforeseen, by which a management person has to approve anyway before the project management can have access to. So you have like a reserve of that, and then I don't know.
No, now you
Okay.
can get it now. It's not complicated.
And then the cost baseline, under that, it helps to monitor how how money is being spent on the project.
Do you understand what you are doing here? Do you understand what you are trying to do here?
I don't even know.
I did not hear that. Okay, let's start this way. Do you understand each of the items in this place, in that diagram?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Yes, I know project budget, I know management reserve, I know cost baseline, control accounts, control account. I'm not sure. Contingency reserve, yes.
We discussed control account when we're doing WBS.
Yes.
That we said it is something on top of. Something on top of your WBS. That we said is something that you use for managing costs on those boxes in your WBS.
Okay, yes.
WBS, we have numbers.
Yes.
So your control account is used to now bring in cost matters into your WBS to now identify those things.
Okay. I know contingency reserve. I know work package cost estimates. I think I understand them, but I don't know how to relate them in this diagram. I think that is the problem.
Okay. So yeah, let's start from here. The most important point is that when you are working on a project or when you are managing cost on a project, you want to know the activities, right? Do we agree?
Yes.
We're starting from the rightmost now, the one on the right. We want to manage the activities. To be able to know, Madam Obrade, are you following?
Yes, I am.
Beautiful. Now, to be able to know the budget of a project, we need to be able to, well, if we want to follow the bottom-up approach, we need to be able to, if we want to follow the bottom-up approach, each of the various activities, we need to come up with an estimate for it. Anabolu, is that clear?
Yes.
Good. So that's what we mean by activity cost estimates. We need to come up with estimates for all our activities. Good. By the time we now sum up all the estimates for all our activities, we now have total sum of all the estimates for the projects. If you add contingency reserve to that, then you have the cost baseline of the project. Madam Obolade, can you remind us what is contingency reserve?
It's those resources that are kept in lieu of when you are short on resources that you need while on your project.
No,
that
no.
is the management that has to approve the use of this particular resource that you can use as a upskill on your project. Am I mixing it up with management reserve?
You two should be able to answer yourself now. Okay, what is management reserve? Maybe you'll be able to detect yourself now.
That means I'm mixing it up.
I've not said so. I'm just asking you.
No, I'm speaking for myself.
So, okay, now that you have, in your own words, you have defined contingency reserve, what is management reserve?
Management reserve, maybe you have to go back to the sponsor. The sponsor has to approve these resources. Project sponsor now, in this case. Right?
Hear me?
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
I can hear you now.
Yes, so I said management reserve. The sponsor has to, the project sponsor has to be the one that approves the subsequent use of more resources.
Okay. Okay. So how is it different from contingency reserve?
The level of approval, the with regards to the person that will approve, that's what I can remember if that is correct.
The level of approval.
Like the person that has to make an approval.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Madam Bomobolade. Let me see. Who else is following self? Madam Bolu, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us the difference between contingency reserve and management reserve?
Okay, so contingency reserve, they are like, if I will quote how you explain it to us, they are the known unknowns, which are the identified, for contingency reserve, you know them, but so they are the known unknowns, you've identified them, but you don't know if they will occur. And then it is part of the, I think it's part of the performance measurement baseline, and the project manager, performance measurements rather, and the project manager has full authority over these contingency reserves. What else? And then for the management reserve, they are the unknown unknowns. And then the project management does not have authority over it. So if such a situation occurs, the project manager will have to get an approval from maybe the project sponsor or any other management staff or person to be able to have access to that particular reserve.
I've heard you, but there's a part that I'm not clear on. When do you use management reserve? When do you use contingency reserve?
Okay. you use management reserve when you, how would I put it? When you've identified a problem or a risk that was not initially included in the plan, if I had to put it that way.
That's when you use which one?
That's when you use management reserve.
Okay.
Yes, it just came up all of a sudden. You didn't know it was going to come up. But
Okay.
you just set up, that reserve is just there, okay, just in case, for unforeseen. So you didn't have an idea. But for contingency reserve, it will happen, but let's say no, sorry. No. For contingency reserve, they're like identified risk. Is a risk and that's been identified already. So as they are working on the project,
let me just help you. Contingency reserve is for known unknowns. Management reserve is for unknown unknowns. Madam Abolade, are you following? Contingency reserve is for known unknowns. Known unknowns meaning you know it can happen, but you don't know if it will happen. For example, I'm in class now. I know that it might rain, and if it rains, it might cut off my internet. But if it rains, will it cut off my internet? I don't know. So whatever fund I set aside to be able to take care of internet matters in case it gets cut off is from my contingency reserve. For things that you know it can happen, but you don't know if it will happen. Madam Abolade, I'm sure you agree with me that because we are not God, there will be some things that they can happen, but you've not even thought of it. It didn't even occur to you. It didn't even factor it in. I think, Madam Abolade, you've never occurred, such a thing has never occurred to you on a project.
Yes.
Can you give me an example?
Okay. If, for example, I'm on my project, I have my admission in school, and when COVID started, we were not sure whether there will be some kind of activities in school. So that way, our session was extended. We continued to pay school fees, where ordinarily we wouldn't have had to pay such school fees. So when the time comes for you to pay that kind of school fees, you just have to pay it. You just have to get access some funds that you probably did not think about. You know it will happen, but then you are not sure if it will happen.
Good. Now, my question for you, Madam Abolade, is that now imagine if you have spent money bumper to bumper and there's no extra fund to use. What will have happened?
There'll be crisis.
There'll be crisis. What you have just said now is one of the many reasons in which you could have abandoned projects. You get that, Madam Abolade?
Yes.
It's one of the many reasons why you could have abandoned projects. Because something totally unexpected, totally unplanned for happens. And there's no fund to cater for it. That's why you realize the difference between contingency reserve and management reserve. For contingency reserve, the project manager has envisaged that it can happen. And they've already set aside some funds. You say, well, if it happens, we pick from this amount of money to take care of them. You know that it's not automatic. It's not everything that can happen will happen now, Abi, except you are so unfortunate with the randomness of life. It's not everything that can go wrong that will go wrong now. So you just set aside some fund for it. Now, Madam Abolade, can you give me the rationale? Why do you think the management reserve is not given to the project manager to administer?
Come again, please.
Why do you think the management reserve is not given to the project manager to administer?
Because just like you said, they are unknown. It's not something that is within the purview of the project manager directly. It's something that might possibly involve a large amount of funds, such that it's a sponsor that has to decide whether we should go ahead with that or not. They
Okay.
are a significant part of the project that has to cascade back to the management.
Well, a small correction there. It's not all the time that it must always be a very huge chunk of money. It's not all the time.
Okay.
It's not all the time. So I think that's an important point. So if you look at this now, the cost baseline of the project is now the normal cost, the aggregated cost of the project plus contingency reserve. So that is the baseline for which the project manager will be measuring performance in cost matters against. Do you understand that, Madam Obolade?
Yes.
But now, the project budget, which is the amount of money that the sponsor wants to put aside to say, okay, this is the amount of money that I want to make ready for the project. That one now has management reserve. Can you explain that? Madam Obolade?
Because the management reserve it has been reserved if something has to, not really if something goes wrong. If we have to take a decision and we have to also include this fund, access this fund, this also will come together with the project budget that we had initially budgeted for.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, I hope you understand that. Adambolu, please confirm to me that you understand this diagram now.
Yes, sir.
As far as I'm concerned, I've not said anything new. You could have as well explained it this way, because I know you know it, except you want to start fumbling. Okay, my assumption was wrong, right? No wahala. Let's move on. So your cost baseline can be changed only through anything they call baseline. It can only be changed by a formal change control system or procedure. For example, project manager cannot say, go ahead and say, okay, yeah, let's change the budget of the project. Why did they say you don't do that?
Should I do the same?
You said what? Oh, it's not me. Okay. So the significance of your cost baseline is that it monitors and measures cost performance, includes a budget, contingency, and is tailored for each project. Other components of the project budget are depicted at right. Okay, Mr. Dedamola, are you with us now? We've not been hearing from you. We've been calling your name. I'm calling you. The engineer King, please read this slide to us. You two, you have been going in and out. Wait till do your internet today now. Our gan told you on internet was stable.
And it's going here as well. Guidelines. Estimate cost baseline. Estimate cost baseline. Gather inputs to establish the baseline. E.g.
Wait, before you go, in your own words, tell us what is cost baseline. So that you're not just pointing out what you are seeing. Your mind is following what you are reading out.
You say what?
In your own words, tell us what is cost baseline.
Cost baseline is used to control the budget of the project. That's what I understand.
How?
That is
it remote control? Is it a remote control or what?
As cost baseline is the guide that project manager has when he's executing his project in terms of cost. He cannot, cost baseline will guide him to no amount of money to release for particular projects when he has maybe contingency or reserve management. Cost baseline will guide him how to go about it. Whether is this one, is it part of the project, a part of the project budget, or should I go and take contingency reserve for this, or should I go and take management reserve for this? That's what I understand.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Yeah, read to us, Alex.
Okay.
Read to us, please.
Guidelines. Estimate cost baseline. Gather inputs to establish the baseline, e.g., WBS, project schedule, cost estimate, and risk management plan. Assign work to dates on project schedule and allocate funds for each activities or work package for assigned time period. Consider a contingency reserve to cover expenses associated with risk. Total the cost for each time period, then plot this on a chart to create an S-curve of the baseline. Publish and distribute the cost baseline to the appropriate project stakeholders.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Okay. So budget challenges. Budget challenges. Ideally, budget is set during project planning. This is for predictive. I hope you understand. It is predictive that at the beginning of the project, we want to do a full project planning for the whole project. So budget is set during the project planning, and it does not change. That is, it's not like it cannot change, but if it will change, some serious level of formal, what's the word? Change control system has to be followed. I be engineer, can you arbitrarily change the budget of a project from 7 million to 10 million?
Sir.
Can you just decide on your own? Can you just wake up and say, that is 10 million, Joe?
You have to brief the sponsors, and they have to be convinced before they can even approve the change in budget. So, and they have to approve it before you will start going on and spending the.
If you make the mistake of just going ahead, you are on your own. It's not even a problem. It's so unprofessional. You can't just take some. That's why you have your baseline. You need to understand the concept of baseline. Once something has been baselined, it means that you cannot single-handedly just make any decision on it. Of course, within the tolerance limit anyway, or some say outside the tolerance limits. So, however, the following changes can pose a challenge. New or change project requirements. If you say your budget should not change, but there's a new requirement. Initially, they did not add it that you should do this, and now they have added it. Will money remain the same? It brings challenge to the budget. Or a new risk. The main work itself might not change, but there is a new threat to the project that you now need to spend money to overcome. Then now look into your contingency, or maybe go and trigger issues around your management reserve. Or changes to estimation. This is a major one. Engineer Akeem, can you give us a practical example of that last item? Engineer, you don't wake.
Hello, sir.
So can you give us a practical example of that last item?
Actually, I can say from what I understand, like we have in our own site here, the contract work was started based on a pie foundation, but during the constructional stage, we discovered that doing a pie cannot give what a deliverable required, as in if it change in terms of the quality of deliverables. So we just have to modify to give the foundation a basement. So there is a contract modification in that regard, in which the project manager has to go through a lot, writing, discussion the client about our plans, and this will affect our budget. So we are seeing on it currently okay, adding basement to the structure will give us another budget, another, or let me say, a huge variation in our budget. So I think changing of a cost or result from the modification of the contract of the deliverable. I think, I don't know whether I.
Yes, correct. Thank you very much. The example I was even expecting you to tell me is economic factor. Dollar is a big factor. We're in the currency, what we are facing right now.
So what you do, what you are doing now, what you are doing is like what you've explained before, that we are now doing phase estimates in most of our contracts. We are doing phase estimates that, okay, the milestone, sir, from before we do total bill, total quantity estimation for a structure, but now we do from starting to maybe ground floor foundation because of the changing in price of material. So we use that fixed estimate to control rise in dollar or price of material. And if not, we add another budget for a space. The client to mobilize all the total budget, amount of the budget, and we procure the material down. If not, the rise in dollar will not make the deliverable achievable. So
and these are practical issues. These are practical issues. These are practical issues.
Very practical. We have been there for like a month now.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, so response to budget challenges. What do you do? Mr. Eke, can you read this slide to us, please?
Okay. When changes or challenges occur, you must tailor budget or funding, cost, schedule, scope. If the budget remains fixed and additional funds are not available, then the project must change.
So that change is what they now mean by tailoring. That is, okay, you either add extra money or you reduce the scope of the project. It's just like our iron triangle now. No, not iron triangle. Oh God, I've forgotten this concept. Cost, scope, schedule. Iron triangle no ni. Madam Bolo, remind me now. I forgot to focus on family thing. Again, can you remind me now? That triangle. If one change,
triple constant.
Triple constraint.
Oh.
Triple constraint.
Triple constraint.
Okay.
Like triple constraint.
Cost times scope.
What did you bear learning anyway?
Yes, they are now 6. I'm right. Quality, something, scope, and.
All right. So funding limit reconciliation. This one just means that usually, or let me say sometimes, you find yourself in a situation whereby they give you money, but they control how you can handle the money. Or they give you some rules on how you can access the money. A very good example, especially what works with some multinationals. You are on a project, they told you the total amount for the project, but you cannot withdraw more than X amount of money in a day. Some of them do it like that. So it's just like it's like an internal control measure to be able to fight some what's the word? Yeah, this internal control generally. In fact, in some cases, it might not even be for internal control. It might just be based on how money is available to the person that is funding. So for the funding limit reconciliation, the process of comparing the planned expenditure of project funds against any limits on commitment of funds to identify variance between funding limits and planned expenditure. Yeah. So keep in mind, most budgets assume steady incoming and outgoing flow. Yes, Engineer Kim, he alluded to it earlier. They said sometimes when you're dealing with customer, you will put it there, condition. All funds must be made available before we start. Or all funds must be available at this particular point in time, in this particular way. You know, so some of those things are funding limits that you need to put into consideration when you are planning your project. Large sporadic expenditure are usually incompatible with organizational operations. When you are dealing with an organization, you need to understand the way money is available or the way money will be made available. You need to sync your need of funds together with availability of funds, or else you'll be very shocked. So funding limits help regulate the outgoing capital flow to protect against overspending. I gave us the example of some multinationals or even local companies. If you're working on a project, they will limit how much of money you can take, you can withdraw at a time. Mr. Didamola, are you with us now? I've been calling you her name all the while. Mr. Didamola, are you with us? Okay, Madam Obalade, yeah, let's hear from you. Read our guidance, please.
Project challenges. Keep the stakeholder register current and be aware of changes to project requirements. If new stakeholders are added to the project, monitor risk frequently to look for new risks and changes to existing ones. Monitor the performance of suppliers and vendors. Monitor all changes to the project and follow the change management system to try to keep them within the project.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I read the second one too.
Designing a budget, review, cost management plan, human resource management plan, scope baseline for project scope system, work breakdown structure, and work breakdown structure design. This register to consider any risk that may impact cost estimation, PES and OPE. Check the project schedule for type, quantity, and duration of the process. Use appropriate tools and techniques. Estimate the project budget, creating a cost baseline. Understand project funding requirements or cash flow to enable the project. Update project documents.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. So let's just take out 15 minutes. Let's stretch our legs and just rest a bit. It's 4 o'clock. Okay, so let's go on 15 minutes break. We'll come back here in 20 minutes past 4. God willing. Thank you. Hello? Hello, hello, hello. Oh, oh God. It is very, very tall. It is a tall matter. Oh. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, sir.
Alpha. Chonye. Yeah, sure. Abi, I just answering me.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so now only you Akako, where's the market from? Who day? Hello.
Thought I saw Mr. Yekin now.
They are connected, but Madam Obalade, are you with us? Or we have lost you to network news? Okay, we're out of time. Madam Bolu, is this safe
Yes, sir.
that we can proceed?
Yes, sir.
All right, so now let's jump into the next process, next task or topic, which is talking about quality, plan and manage quality of deliverables. So I believe by now you should have a very good understanding of what the word quality means. Quality we're talking about here is not the English language definition of quality. By quality here, we are referring to the degree to which something, the degree to which you are fulfilling the needs of your stakeholders, of your customer. The degree to which the requirements of the customer are being met. You know, that's what is called quality. The degree to which the requirements, the degree to which what you are doing meets the requirements. So the characteristics, the features of what you have done, how does it meet the requirements? So if it meets the requirement very well, high quality. If it doesn't meet it very well, then low quality. Okay, so standards. A major difference between regulation and standard is that regulation is largely government. Regulation is largely something that has to do with government. But standard, on the other case, is more of like, can we use the word best practice? Can we use the word best practice? Or something that, like custom, authority, generally accepted. That's standard. So de facto regulations that are widely accepted and adopted through use. De jure regulations that are mandated by law or have been approved by a recognized body of experts. So you have something we call the ISO 9000 series. I remember then when we were growing up, there used to be this, I don't know, Madam Bolu, you are an Ibadan person now. You grew up in Ibadan.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Those days, I'm telling many years ago, there used to be this advert early in the morning when they are doing news in the morning. Nigerites. I don't know if you used to listen to news then. And when I say then, I mean like 1995, 97, 1999.
No.
There's this news. There's this advert that was very common on news then. Nigerites roofing sheets. I don't even know if that company still exists anyway. So then it was then you used to hear
they still exist.
Nigeria still exists. That's interesting.
Yes.
So
they are the one doing ceiling, asbestos ceiling.
Interesting. Well, yeah, all I know about them is that anytime I hear Nigerites, what comes to my head is ISO. Because then they used to shout it so loudly. We are ISO 9002 certified. Nigerite super kinika ISO 9002 certified. So I used to hear that a lot. I really never knew the meaning of ISO. But recently, as in, but when of course, when I now came to that, I said, okay, ISO, okay, it's an international standard that they use to, you know, like a certification kind of, that it's a quality standard that you used to. So, but ISO 9000 series, that's the one that's particularly for that we're discussing now. A quality system standard that can be applied to any product, any service, or process in the world. So, verified deliverables. Hey, do we remember verified deliverables? Madam Bolu, if you have watched scope management, you should be able to remember verified deliverables. Do you? Yes or no? If you have watched scope in the videos, in the LMS, you should remember verified deliverables. You should remember, because we explained it especially in the videos. You said that when you create your deliverables under direct and managed project work, you say like raw deliverables. When you now do control quality, you check your deliverables against the various requirements that you know. So within yourself, confirm that it is good. So once you have confirmed that it is good within yourself, take it to the sponsor, take it to your key stakeholders. That process of taking it to your stakeholders to get feedback from them is called verified. It's called validating scope.
Yes,
you understand? It's called validating scope. Yes. So the deliverables that have gone through that process, what is long, what is poor, and they came back successfully. Yes, this is good. Then they now become verified deliverables. That is deliverables that have been verified by the sponsor, our key stakeholder, to be okay, to be good, to be fine, to be, working.
Yes.
So that's that. So read this slide to us, Madam Bulu.
Verified deliverables. Project team verifies deliverables based on quality standards and requirements. The verified deliverables are presented to and accepted or validated by the customer, resulting in accepted deliverables. Measure products and outputs against the project's quality standards. Implement corrections and controls when quality standards are neither met nor within acceptable ranges. Sir, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Thank you very much. I hope you understand the things you have read out.
Yes.
So here we have our quality management plan. I've given us a formula. Anytime we see something management plan, it just means that it is a document that you write at the beginning of your project to guide all matters relating to that topic or that knowledge area or that concept. So quality management plan is that giant how document explaining all the hows of managing quality on that project. So yeah, let's read the definition itself. It's a component of your project management plan that describes how applicable policies, procedures, guidelines will be implemented to achieve quality objectives. So here, your metrics. How do you confirm? How do you control? How do you measure? How do you, all the hows in relation to quality management, put it in your quality management plan. So quality management plan here describes the activities and resources necessary for the project management team to achieve the quality objectives. Maybe formal or informal, detailed or broadly framed. Style and detail are determined by project requirements. Review the quality management plan early in the project. Benefits of this: decisions based on accurate information, sharper focus on project's value proposition, cost reduction, mitigate schedule overruns from the work. Why? Why are you mitigating project schedule overrun from the work? What it means is that if you are able to take out some time to determine how will you define what is good on the project, how will you define if you have met the requirements? How will you even define the requirements? How do you compare to confirm that you have met the requirements? having ambiguity on all these things will cost you a lot of money. It will cost you a lot of cost overrun on the project. Because when you don't know how to confirm whether you are right or wrong. You are just managing the project blindly. Yes, that's the word, blindly. Your discussion of quality is not complete until you discuss the concept called cost of quality. We'll have to rush this. You can read this up more, but I will explain cost of quality. But there are some tools here that I won't explain because of time. Now, Engineer Yakin, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you will agree with me that in the name of trying to meet requirements and doing it well, it comes at a cost. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Because there are different ways to kill a fowl. But if you want to kill
Yes,
it the right way, you now have to go through some detailed established processes that might cost you more. So what this means is that in the name of trying to ensure quality, sometimes you need to spend. In fact, cost of quality is not only that, the wahala you will go through if you did not do quality, the wahala you will go through to now correct your mess is also part of cost of quality. So if you read this slide and you see that cost of quality is the cost incurred over the life of the project, of the products, by investment in either preventing non-conformance or by correcting non-conformance. Preventing non-conformance to requirements, then appraisal of a product or service for conformance and failure to meet requirements. So what this just means essentially is that if you do not conform, you have to spend money to make you conform. You have that money you spend, that effort you spend in the name of conforming. That effort you spend in the name of conforming is part of what we call cost of quality. Cost of quality. It's part of what you spend. Example now, Engineer, can you read out the picture to the right of the slide? Can you see it?
The one you start with?
Yes.
Prevention costs. Build a quality product. Training. Document processes. Equipment. Time to do it right. Appraisal costs. Assess the quality. Testing. Destructive testing laws. Inspections. Internal failure costs. Rework or scrap or script. External failure costs. Failures found by the customer. Liability. Warranty work. Lost businesses.
Do you understand what you have just read out?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, sir.
If you look at this thing, you see that there are four areas, 4 sections.
Yes, sir.
There's cost of conformance, there's cost of non-conformance. Cost of conformance is the cost you incur because you want to achieve quality.
Yes, sir.
Cost of non-conformance is the wahala you go through to
when
correct.
You've done the rough work or bad
when you have done the wrong thing and you now want to correct it, or when you have done the wrong thing and you want to face the consequence. That's the cost of non-conformance. So when you want to do quality, that one now you have 2 types of costs. You have the cost you incur to prevent problem. You also have the cost you incur to check if there's problem. Checking if there's problem is not necessarily preventing if there's problem. For example, training. You train your staff to ensure that they don't cause problem for you or for themselves. But you also now have appraisal costs. Is that okay? You have produced what you want to produce. Oh yeah, you want to check it. Is it okay? That's appraisal. Example, testing. Testing costs. That's appraisal costs. There's something called destructive testing. Well, the area I know they do it a lot is in car manufacturers. At least I've watched some documentaries in which
we do a construction.
They will destroy the car.
Non-destructive test.
Do you do destructive testing in construction too?
It's non-destructive after you've done the work. You now test it.
Me, I'm saying
If you can
destructive test. Destructive testing. Destructive testing is when you test by destroying your products. For example, look at the cars that they produce. Those things go through extensive destructive testing. At least I've watched some documentaries online about it, that you will see them, they will put dolly, they put baby inside the car, and they will, it's an automated line. They will automatically control the car at high speed to go alarm against a barrier. Why do you think they are doing this thing? Madam Bolu, why do you think they are doing this?
2021.
I'm listening, Madam Dr. Engineer King, continue.
2021 was it not Toyota or thereabout, bulletproof? They have to, the CEO of the company, they have to get inside. They are shooting all the bodies to see whether the bullet can penetrate. So actually, all the body was destroyed, but the bullet cannot penetrate.
That's a form of testing. But that might not even be, well, you can call that destructive testing too, yes. The common one that I watch once in a while is that one in which they actually drive the car at high speed into a barrier. Down. You know, that destroys the car. But what are they doing? They want to measure what's the safety level of the car. Yeah? If the car crumbles, where does it start crumbling? Where does it finish crumbling? How much of damage happens to the dolly that's inside the car? And all of these things. So this sort of destructive testing. You now have cost of non-conformance. Madam Obolade, you have been very silent. Are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you.
Good. There's a question I want you to answer for me in 2 minutes' time. The question is that look at cost of conformance, look at cost of non-conformance, and just give me a rough idea of most times which is more expensive. Just give me a rough idea. So you answer that question in 2 minutes' time, please. Is that okay?
Yes.
Good. So I was explaining cost of non-conformance. Look at cost of non-conformance now. Cost of non-conformance is the cost you incur either because you want to correct your non-conformance, or you have to bear consequence of your non-conformance. So that one now has two, internal and external. Internal is, well, we did not do it well, let's try again. The cost you want to incur in trying again, that's cost of non-conformance. Or let's scrap it, that's all, that's the end, let's move on. That's cost of non-conformance. That's internal. Then external is liabilities. People sending you lawsuit, try to sue you because of something. That's external. Sometime earlier this year, a 3-story building collapsed, like, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4 buildings away from my office. It was mad. It was mad. Luckily for us, there was no fatality. Luckily for us, you know, they were actually just constructing it. And then we're just lucky there was no fatality. It happened on a Sunday. There were no construction workers, nothing. But it rained. So now, there's a lot of external failure costs. It's external cost of non-conformance. Maybe that it happened as a result of them not conforming to something. We don't know. But of course, there will be liabilities. There will be, maybe the engineer will lose credibility, lose work. I don't know. I don't know what happens in the construction industry when such disasters happen. I don't know the implication. But I know that there are some kind of things that can happen that even the engineers or maybe the construction firm might lose some license. I don't know. Abi Engineer King, do people lose license as a result of things like this?
So they withdraw your license for 15 years.
Eh?
If you are a registered engineer for 15 years, they will withdraw your current certificate.
If the building collapses, Abi, or what will lead to that?
If building collapses, they will have to do some investigation. If it is design error, the engineer that design will be charged and they will withdraw a certificate. But if the design is not faulty, if it's a construction error, they will have to look at if there is a registered engineer on that site. They have to complete his certificate.
So those are part of liabilities, lost business, and warranty work. Okay, so Madam Baladeya, tell us, which is usually more expensive, cost of performance or cost of non-conformance?
Cost of non.
How did you arrive at that answer?
Because the things you lose, they are more in terms of corrective action. They are going to be more than the structure you put in place.
Okay, I share that opinion too. And a very important point that we need to stress extensively before we move on. Engineer Ekin, there's an important point we need to stress. Engineer Ekin, are you listening?
Sir.
You need to be careful with the way you handle your staff. You need to be careful with the way you handle your staff. I'm sure you're not part of those people who think that it is unnecessary luxury to be training staff. And that's one of the reasons why I find people preferring to work with a white than working. When I say white, I'm not saying Chinese, so I'm not saying Lebanese. So
German.
yes, talk of the Germans, talk of the Americans, talk of the British. And when you're going white, and Chinese here, chocolate, chocolate, cream color. Those ones here, they're in a category of their own. So what I'm saying is that you need to actively understand and view training of your staff or of key personnel as important, costs of conformance. Don't see it as a necessary luxury. It's part of cost of conformance. Because don't forget that if you refuse to train the person well, if the person fumbles, is it the staff that fumble or the company that fumbles? It's company. And that is one of the reasons why you have to ensure that training is not handled with anyhow hand. All right, let's move on. Quality metrics. A description of a project or product attribute and how to measure it. Tolerance, the quantified description of acceptable variation for a quality requirement. Of course, I'm sure we remember tolerance. Tolerance means, like, for example, a particular quality requirement says this thing should be 15 millimeters thick. And then tolerance can say, well, we can still accept plus or minus 0.09 millimeters. So if it is 15.004, it's still acceptable. You understand? Something like that. So that's tolerance. It's very important that you define your tolerances on your project. It's very important because so that you don't just allow people to just don't make it open-ended for people to define their own tolerance themselves. Define it for them. If at all it will exist anyway, which it should. So quality audit, a structured, independent process to determine if project activities comply with organizational and project priorities, processes, and procedures. Audit, you know what audit now? So you do a quality audit to check, are we on track? Madam Bolu, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Have you watched quality management in the videos in the LMS?
No.
So it means you don't know the difference between quality assurance and quality control.
No.
Go and watch it. Nobody will tell you. Go watch it. All right, thank you. So quality audits, an independent, well, it could be independent, but sometimes you could also use some members of your team. Structured process improves quality performance of the project, can be conducted at scheduled or random intervals. Some topics here are quality management policy. How do you collect and use information? How do you analyze? What's the cost of quality process design? Manage quality. Madam Bolu, please read this to us quickly.
Okay. Manage quality. Ensure that random and or scheduled quality audits are conducted by qualified auditors.
Okay.
Use one or more of the quality assurance tools and techniques to determine the causes of quality problems of the project's product, service, systems, or processes. Identify and implement the appropriate actions to take to increase the effectiveness and efficiency of the project team's work results.
Do you understand these things you are reading out, or you are just reading for reading sake?
I understand
As
them.
in, did you process them, or you're
Yes.
just talking?
No.
These are
Process them.
important stuff. So,
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So we have some things they call quality tools. Like I said, I wouldn't be going into all of them. But just mention one or two. You can read them up in display manual or watch the videos. Please watch the videos. Engineer Ekin, me, I'm laughing at you here. Oh.
Sir, what happened, sir?
Me, I'm laughing at you here, Ni. I don't even
What
know
did
that
I
I'm
do, sir?
laughing or I'm shaking my head. I think it's more of me shaking my head for you. Have you seen this meme, this WhatsApp meme of somebody that's just shaking his head like this? Ah, oh my shoe. Hey, why I'm shaking my head is that you are struggling to watch class videos. I can't even ask you for LMS videos. When even class videos gone, you never finish. I'll be back on it.
Sir,
Are you with us?
it's something that I cannot explain. It's very critical.
Oh, critical.
I'm with you, but that last week, very serious family issue, so I have to attend to it.
And I said
LMS.
The videos in the LMS.
What happened to LMS?
Egbami, you don't even know the meaning. Hey, Neme.
I know LMS now. I said, what happened to LMS?
Nothing happened. He said I should be greeting you. No, nothing happened to it. Have you been following?
I'm following you. I will pack myself up and I will reschedule my activities.
Okay. But I hope you understand that you should actually watch the videos in the LMS because you have not started watching. That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
Because technically,
yes,
now only you are the only one. You are the only one left. Even Mr. Adedamola that joined us late, he has started. See, now only you now. The only person that is competing with you is Madam Obolade number 2, Dr. Saka. They are in the same category. No result fund. No result fund. Madam Obolade said, don't try. Don't enter module 3. Okay. No wahala. So,
I will start by Monday.
Please.
No, sir. You know, sir, it's a 4 hours lecture is not something you can just watch at once. So I have to be breaking them. I have to be breaking them. So, and I have to understand that one so that I will be able to cope with the class, the next class, before going to that LMS.
Ben, I agree. But I'm just worried. You know why I'm worried, Engineer Ekin? Do you know why I'm worried?
Sir.
Hello, Engineer. Do you know why I'm worried?
Why, sir?
I'm worried because most people who don't give attention during the class, they hardly give attention after the class. That's the simple truth. Madam Obolade, did you hear what I just said? Don't sleep, go finish you. Madam Obolade, are you with us? Anyway, let me assume she's with us. All right, let's just move on. So control quality tools. We have a number of tools. The ones that are used for data gathering, the ones that are used for data analysis, and the ones that are used for data representation. You can see all these things: checklist, check sheet, statistical sampling, questionnaires, and surveys. Data analysis, you have performance reviews, root cause analysis. Then data representation, you have cause and effect diagram, control charts, histograms, scatter diagram. So, yeah, that's just it. Data gathering, surveys, checklists, statistical sampling, analysis. Anyway, I just want to skip this area. We can read it up. Performance reviews. We know what performance reviews are now. Root cause analysis. Data representation. This is called Pareto. What do you call it? Ishikawa diagram. It's also called fishbone diagram. It's also called cause and effect diagram. It's also called YY diagram. It's an interesting one. I did a webinar on this sometime early this year. You have another one, scatter diagram. You have another one, control charts. These things have been explained extensively in the video. That's why I'm skipping them. You have Pareto, Babagba. Very, very interesting principle. I hope you can watch them in the videos. Yeah, Engineer Yakin, please read this to us.
Okay. Control product quality.
Okay.
Conduct inspection to detect quality errors during project work. Use Pareto diagram to focus corrective actions on the problem with the greatest effect on quality. Use control charts to analyze and communicate the variability of the process or project activity over time.
Okay.
Identify ways to eliminate causes of unsatisfactory results. Use flow charts to identify redundancies, missteps, or the source of quality performance problems. Initiate process adjustments by implementing corrective or preventive actions. Continue to monitor, measure, and adjust quality throughout project life cycle.
Okay. Thank you very much. So at this point, we've come to the end of that task. We'll move on to the next task, is to integrate project plan activity. Okay, so integrate project planning activities. Project planning activities. Aha. Now talk about integration management. Madam Bolu, when you hear the word integration management, what comes to your head?
Sorry.
Bolu, wake up,
Yes,
wake
I'm
up,
here.
wake up.
I'm here. I was talking. I didn't know my laptop was on mute. Okay, so integration management, when I talk about it, well, I mean, when I hear of it, what comes to mind is like the putting together of different collection, or putting together of different project management processes to ensure that all the parts of projects are properly analyzed and coordinated, controlled, and managed. So it's like all the processes are, put together in one situation or one position, and, to ensure that, and also ensuring that they are properly analyzed, they are managed, they are controlled, and all of that. They are properly coordinated together.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Even though you use some clauses or phrases that are very, very implicating, but the general idea of your explanation makes a lot of sense. So integration management is more of like the administrator, the administrative part of the project, in which you want to ensure that You are defining your project the right way. You are planning your project the right way. And you are defining your project the right way. You are planning your project the right way. And you are monitoring and controlling, you're executing the right way, and you are closing the right way. So it's more of like general core stuff for the project. Madam Bolu, please read this to us, please.
Okay. Integration management, assessment and coordination of all plans and activities that are built, maintained, and executed throughout a project. A holistic, integrated view ties plans together, aligns efforts, and highlights how they depend on each other. An integrated view of all plans can identify and correct gaps or conflicts. A consolidation of the plans encapsulates the overall project plans and its intended business value.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. So project management plan, once again, we come to this document. The document that describes how the project will be executed, how the project will be monitored, how it will be controlled, how it will be closed. I'm sure you can see some element of your process group coming back there. What's the meaning of process group? So, I'm sure you can recognize this. Madam Bolu, can you recognize this diagram? Can you recognize this diagram, Madam Bolu?
Yeah, I can't see it. The fonts are small. Is this project
You they use Igoni.
Oh, and the fonts are very small. Okay, yes.
Which one is yes now?
Yes, I can recognize the diagram.
What is it?
Is this not?
Oh yeah, tell us. What is this?
I'm not sure again. I thought it was like breakdown, like work breakdown structure.
Yeah.
It's not the one. No, it's not. I can't. Project integration management developer.
Madam Obalade, what are we looking at? Hey, Neme.
This is like
Madam Obalade. Abi, you want to say something? Yeah, tell us.
This is like the project. This is the project plan. Please, can you zoom in? Maybe if I read words there, I can't see what's inside the boxes.
You don't need to see what's inside the box. Just by looking at the headings, it's enough for you if you know what you want to see.
Integration management overview. Oh, okay. Oh, these are the process groups.
So you don't even know the meaning of process group again. I lose hope.
These are the steps that you put that need to be in place for a project from start to finish of a project.
Hey! You feed me. Hey, I refuse to die. Hey, my people. These are the processes under integration management. Simple. And it's giving you ITTO. Want to possible?
I can't see. I can't see it. The fonts are very small.
You cannot see develop project chapter. Are you telling me you can't read develop project chapter? I
have to see.
We can't see. We can't read. We can't see.
It's very small. Not necessarily. It's the fonts are very, very small. I have to really squint. I can't see it.
Hey, if you see, she was like, she was linking it to that process group. But if I didn't that she has seen that develop project chapter ahead, so process.
Hey, engineer King, no Allah.
Because as he's thinking, me, I'm thinking also now. So We are thinking together.
Diamond think together.
So,
Hey,
so
how can you still be looking at develop project charter, Tema Mountain Woo, develop project management plan, direct and manage project work, manage project knowledge, monitor and control project work, perform integrated change control, close project or phase, and you don't know what you are looking at? Otik, matter ethic gone. Adambolu, hey, you owe me $10 million. That's your fine.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what you're possible? Madam Bolu,
I can't see.
Project integration management processes. Is that not the heading on this document, on this slide?
Project.
Maybe
Maybe if you zoom in, I can't see. I can see P. Now that you are saying it, I'm making meaning of it, but I can't see it. I can't see anything on this diagram.
You are forgiving. No more fine. You are forgiven. So don't bring any $10 million to me anymore. I'm forgiving you, okay?
Okay.
All right. So projects and project management are integrative in nature. This is an overview of the processes that project managers need to know. Please note that these processes overlap and interact with one another. The links among these processes are often iterative. We won't waste too much time explaining this task because this is a very basic one. We've overflogged this already in the LMS. Project management information system. Whatever you are using to make your project management processes easy for you, either software or physical book, whatever you are using is a project management information system. Are you using a software, using an application, whatever you are using, that's it. So, project management plan, I explained something earlier. I said your project management plan consists of your subsidiary plans and your baselines, and there's some other extra things. So all those your subsidiary plans, scope management plan, requirement management plan, schedule management plan, cost management plan, quality management plan, resource management plan, application management plan, procurement management plan, risk management plan, stakeholder management plan, all of those things, they are called subsidiary plans. And then your baselines, schedule baseline, cost baseline, and scope baseline. So those are the key parts of your project management plan. And then you now have some other additional documents, project processes, work explanation, agile project plan, project management, project approach, change management plan, configuration management plan, management reviews. Those ones are just JARA. The major ones are the two on top. If you open the doc file I sent to you, I sent to the group recently, I'm sure you will have some more clarity around a practical project management plan. So, project management plan, tools and techniques. You have expert judgment, meetings, data gathering. The purpose of drafting a project management plan is that you want to write a very big combo document that now describes how you want to carry out the project. Cost management plan, how you manage cost matters on the project, put in a cost management plan. How you manage quality management matters on the project, put in quality management plan. How you manage scope management project on the project, put in your scope management plan. Like that. By the time you do for all of those plans, now aggregate all of them together into one document. That's called your project management plan. So in creating that, you of course you need to meet with people, gather data, and move around. Managing change. Configuration management plan. Anytime you hear configuration management plan, and then when you hear configuration management, always think of the word versioning. When you hear configuration management, think of the word versioning. When you hear configuration management plan, think of the word versioning. So versioning here means that, for example, engineer Yekin, I'm sure you will have a practical experience of how you do versioning. If you are working on a project now and you have a diagram and a new version of the diagram comes out, how do you differentiate the new version of the diagram from the old version of the diagram?
We compare the two diagrams.
By doing how do you compare? Is it just by looking at No, that's not the best way to do it. What you should do is that you should use configuration management. Maybe there will be some labeling that you'll have used. Version 1.1, version 1.2.
That's when we are reading. If I say we want to compare, it means we want to read it. You do read it. Okay, check from grid line, check from axis, from the column. Are they the same? From the beam, are they the same? So that's how we check.
You are even talking about the internal content of the documents. Yeah, I'm saying, for example, the version.
Hello, I can't hear you, sir.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you can hear you. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Hear you now. I can hear you now.
What I was saying.
That's
my.
Okay. What I was saying is that the titling of the document itself, not just the content of the documents. If you want to properly manage versioning, from the way you even title it, let it be clear that this is version 1.2. You understand? Because you might say somebody should start checking the axis, checking column, checking beam. What if the person does not see the difference? So you make it clear, make it obvious, make it bold. This is version 2. This is version 3. This is version kineko. One very common way that I do is that, for example, look at somebody like Madam Omoborade that just completed her PhD and she has refused to wash it for us, even though we have not lost hope that she will wash it for us. She's writing her thesis, and I mean, when she was still writing her thesis, and she was the same thesis, different versions. You know, I don't know if it has ever happened to you that you have like 10 versions of the same file on your computer, different file size, meaning that they have different contents, but the same file name. One of them is in your desktop. One of them is in my computer. One of them is inside download folder. One of them is inside Kinika. I don't know if you have ever experienced such. It's nonsensical. You could lose a lot of things with that kind of very, very bad approach. I used to have that problem until I learned one interesting skill from one of my profs here. So what it does is that it will append dates to that file name. So you have my profile .png, oh no, .docx. That's it, my profile _ 23102021.docx. If you edit it again tomorrow, and the ones that is edited to be a new file, it will now be my profile _ 24102021. So that way, he's able to manage versions very well. So that's a general discussion around what we are. This is a major issue, especially for big projects, multi-stakeholder projects. Engineer King, you could be losing money if you don't do things the right way. So configuration management talks about you managing the versioning of your documents, and then how do you communicate the new versions across to all the people with the old versions, or to all the relevant people who should have the new version. You will cause a lot of problem if you are working, if those who are building are working with the old version of the building plan, and it has been modified, but they did not know, they were not told. You know, Abi, is this fictional? Engineer, can it happen like that? Is it possible?
Yes, sir.
Have you heard of such a case happening like that? Builders building with the wrong version of the file.
It happens a lot too. That's why if they send a drawing, a change of a new version of the drawing to site, we will have to pack all the old drawing so that no one will take it and go and be using old drawing. And the reviewer also may cloud where changes are, it will cloud it so that everybody will see it quickly. But what we majorly do is that we pack all the old drawing away, because we've done it several times. You even take an old drawing, you go and be using it. That's why that they've reviewed it and send you a new drawing.
Interesting. So, Madam Bolu, do you see some of the questions I was asking you earlier? That these things we are talking about, they are not entirely theory, so.
Yes.
They're not entirely
A
theory.
real life situation.
And don't make the mistake of thinking it's only in construction that these things work. Hey, you'll be shocked. You'll be shocked.
Sir, but even the project management question is not about construction. I've never seen where you give us any question. Yes.
That has to do with construction.
It's more or less about ICT, like that stuff, or office stuff, sir. How to manage office something. But I've never seen the only area that they do control is where they are talking about this schedule management. Now it's
you. All right, let's zoom faster. Let's zoom up. Okay, so change management plan. This provides direction for managing the change control process and documents the roles and responsibilities of the change control board. Remember your change control board. If you have watched the videos, if you have watched integration management in the videos, you should remember change control board. Those ones are the ones. Don't forget that we said your baselines. If something has been baselined by your sponsor, you cannot change it unilaterally anymore. So what that means is that if there will be a change, whoever desires the change will submit a change request. So the change request will be sent to the change control board for review. If it is accepted, then it becomes an accepted change. If it is not accepted, then it becomes rejected change. So the change control board are primarily responsible. The change control board is either the sponsor himself or herself, or the sponsor with a committee. Or in fact, it could be a committee, sponsor is not there. So what it means is that they have a mandate of the sponsor to manage changes on the project. Okay. So change management plan. Okay, so you have questions like, who can propose a change? What exactly constitutes a change? What is the impact of the change? What are steps to evaluate a change request before approving or rejecting? When a change request is accepted or approved, what project documents will record the next actions? What project documents will record the next actions? How will you monitor these actions to confirm completion and quality? So develop a project management plan. So here are the guidelines. You review your charter, review. Madam Bolu, outputs from other processes. Why is that necessary when we are developing a project management plan?
Output from other processes.
Yes.
Okay. Because like we said, we said that the project management plan is like the mother of all management plans. So of course, the output from those plans need to be included in the project management plan as well.
You have given me an equicious answer. That could either mean you understand what you are saying or you are saying something. So which of the above?
I thought I'm saying, like you asked me earlier in the class that what constitutes a project management plan, and that was when I talked about the other plans. So the outputs from those things need to be it's important for them to, I don't want to say to be out, but it's important to have them. And because like we discussed, the project management plan is like the mother of all the other plans. So they need to be, you need to have them and include them in the project management plan, not just focusing on, how will I put it? surface or just general views of what the project is all about. You need to have the output of other things.
Output like what? Simple.
Okay.
Eh?
Okay, output like
Oh, because of time, let me help you, Joe. Either you are still looking for output around. Even if you don't know any other one, you shall know that your project management plan contains the various it's like it contains the various plans. Cost management plan is an output of a process. Schedule management plan is an output of a process. All of these things are outputs of some processes now. And it is all of those things that come together to form project management plan. Ah, they are silent. We don't understand. Oh, sorry, I can't help you.
That's what I explained. That's what I explained.
Okay. Sorry, I did
That's
not
what I
understand.
I understood. I thought you wanted another answer.
Anyway, that's good. Let's shall move on because of time. Plan and manage procurement. You know procurement now. Procurement means that you want to bring something on board from outside the team. You are engaging somebody outside the team, or you are engaging somebody to bring up a resource or an equipment or a machinery or a service that is not rendered by the team generally as part of the team. That's what is meant by procurement. So the approach, your procurement strategy now is the approach by the buyer to determine the project delivery method and the type of legally binding agreements that should be used to. So procurement strategy means how will you deliver the product? How would you do contract payment matters? And if you have phases for your procurement, you define it. So delivery of the solution. The goal of procurement is the delivery of procured goods or services by the supplier to the procuring organization. The goal of procurement is the delivery of procured goods or services by the supplier of the procuring organization. So if you are talking of planning and analysis, here customer requirements are being documented. Detailed design solution is being documented. Implementation or installation, then okay, it means that that thing that you have bought is being implemented or installed. Testing, then that thing you bought is being tested. Training, then it means the person who brought it is training other people that will use it on how to use it. Handover is that act of formally saying I've finished my own work, but I'm going, take control of it. Support maintenance, this is now like ongoing operation, support to ensure that they're able to operate and move on properly or in a smooth way. It's something called the make or buy analysis. If you watch the video, we've explained this thing extensively and we put some examples. There are some calculations there, but they did not explicitly mention it in this new syllabus. But there's some calculations that what do you do? When do you buy? When do you rent? When do you lease? When does it make more sense for you to rent but not buy? When does it make more sense for you to buy but not rent? So make or buy analysis, this is the process of gathering or organizing data about product requirements, analyzing them against available alternatives, including the purchase or internal manufacture of a product. Should you purchase it from outside or you want to do it internally yourself? So there's a science to determination. So make or buy decisions is decision made regarding the external purchase or internal manufacture of a product. So make or buy decision considerations. What's the impact on time, impact on cost, impact on quality? Is this an ongoing need for the specific skill set? Is there an ongoing need for the specific skill set? How steep is the learning curve? Are required resources readily available within the organization? It's something they call statement of work. Statement of work here essentially just means that a description of what you want to get done. At least if you want a vendor to come and help you do something, you shall. This is what we want here. It's called statement of work. A narrative description of the product, service, or result to be delivered by the project. Wait. What I have just said now is procurement statement of work. It's different from the project statement of work. Statement of work is like high-level description of what you want to get done, what the project wants to get done. So the procurement statement of work is now the one describing the results you want from the customer, or sorry, from the vendor, the result you want, the service the vendor wants to render, this the product the vendor wants to deliver, kind of. That one is called the procurement statement of. Okay. Okay. Procurement statement of work describes procurement items in sufficient detail to allow prospective sellers to determine if they are capable of providing the products, the service, or the results. Beautiful. So procurement management plan, just like all the other something management plan that we have been discussing. By now we should be able to even explain. Anytime you have something management plan, you should be able to explain it on your own. So procurement management plan, some of the things you find inside your procurement management plan. What types of contracts will be used? The process of obtaining bids. Standardized procurement documents describes how providers will be managed. Okay. Okay. Source selection criteria. Engineer Yekin, can you read out this source selection criteria to us quickly, please?
A set of attributes decided by the buyer, which a seller is required to meet or exceed to be selected for a contract. Some of these are overall or life cycle cost, understanding of need, technical capability, management approach, technical approach, warranty, financial capacity, production capacity and interest, business size and type, past performance of sellers, references, intellectual property rights.
Proprietary rights.
Proprietary rights.
Okay. Okay. Do you follow these things when you're also looking for vendors?
When I'm looking for what?
Vendors. Of course, now you follow some of them now. You can't just give anybody work. You shall look at some criteria now. You can't just work.
I live with other technical capacity or capability.
You can't tell me you don't follow financial capacity now. Will you just, especially for projects that involve them having to spend their own money to do an initial part? Yeah. So what it means is that somebody who doesn't have that capacity, you cannot give to the person. It's as simple as that. So qualified vendors, those are the ones that have been vetted, that you have subjected to your source selection criteria. They have been vetted and they are found to qualify, and then boom, you go ahead with them. An example of qualified vendors is that you find out that there's some organizations that you can't just go there and go and bid. No. There are certain times of the year that they open up their application to become a qualified vendor in the organization. So you have to join the list of people they give job to. So when job now comes, when contract comes, it is those people who are already on their list that can apply. Not just anybody can just come and say, okay, yeah, I'm interested. No. So that's that. So bidders conference. Bidders conference is just like, let me see. Let's say, for example, now you just stand up. I mean, you set up. There's a project that's supposed to go out, and then you call all those who are bidding for the contracts. All of them come at the same time, the same place, the same location, and you answer questions for everybody in front of everybody. Give details in front of everybody. So you use this to ensure that everybody has clear understanding and everybody has the same level of knowledge of information. I'm sure you understand that in contracting, information is power. So sometimes you want to ensure everybody has the same level of information. External resource requirements and needs. Sometimes you need to move beyond the organization to secure services and expertise from outside sources on a contract or on a short-term basis. External resources are used commonly. It helps the business to focus more on their core competence. You know, so it's just like, imagine Engineer Yekin's company now. They get involved in a contract and now has software components. You now see Engineer Yekin now saying, okay, wait, give me 6 months. Let me go and learn introduction to programming first so that I can do it. You know, it does not make sense. So, or it might not make sense. So rather, focus on your own building. Outsource the software part of it to somebody else to handle it. Rather than you wanting to go and start learning how to do it when you have your own core competency there. So supplier contracts. There are different types of contracts. There are 3 major types of contracts. What's a contract? A contract is that mutually binding agreement that obligates the seller to provide a particular service to the buyer. Service or result or product to the buyer, and the buyer has to pay for it based on the contract. So there are 3 major types of contracts: fixed price contracts, cost reimbursable contracts, time and material. These things have been explained extensively in the LMS. So agile contract types. You have capped time and material contracts, target cost contracts, incremental delivery contracts. So communicating with vendors and suppliers and vendors. Madam Obolade, are you with us? I've not heard from you in a long time. Madam Obolade, are you there? Okay. Madam Bolu, please proceed. Read this to us, please.
Okay, communicating with suppliers and vendors. Critical components of the procurement process due to the people involved. Consult the communications management plan for provisions for working with vendors or suppliers, such as periodic progress reports of supply activities, advance notification of potential supplier cost overruns or schedule delays, and acknowledgement by the project manager to the supplier. Formal acceptance by the project manager of suppliers' contracts deliverables. Yeah, mute, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Components of contracts. What are those things you find in a contract? I'm sure most of us will have seen contracts before. Or maybe we have even drawn up contracts ourselves. You describe the work that needs to be done, delivery dates, schedule information, identification of authority where appropriate, responsibilities of both parties, management of technical and business aspects, price and payment terms, provision of termination, applicable guarantees and warranties. Okay, so this is a description of different types of contracts. Fixed price contracts. Let me just summarize. Fixed price means I want to do this thing for me. If you take 6 months, I pay you 2 million naira.
So I can't hear you.
Hello.
Okay, can hear you now. Could not hear you.
Okay, can you still hear me now?
Yes.
Fixed price contract is like this contract will take 6 months. I will pay you 2 million. I agree. You collect money and then you do the work. That's fixed price contract. Cost reimbursable contract is okay. This project, how much will it cost you? 1.2 million. Oh yeah, I will take the 1.2 million and then on top I give you extra money. That's cost reimbursable contract. Time and material, that one is more of like an hybrid of both of them. It's more of like saying just like parametric estimating then. Something that is based on a parameter. Or the way, like for example, the way they give some road contracts in some places, they say, okay, we'll give you 50 million naira per kilometer. Per kilometer. That's an example of time and material contracting. You can read this up. But that's some of these things now have example. They have other sub like fixed price contract now has sub. There's a particular kind of fixed price contract in which they made allowance for economic adjustments. We pay you 2 million, but that 2 million will be adjusted based on prevailing interest and prevailing dollar exchange rate, something like that. That's that. So agile contract types, you have capped time and material, target cost contracts, incremental delivery contracts. We're out of time. Let's just finish this class. We're almost done. We have just 4 slides left. 5 slides. Control procurement process. Control procurement, that's one of the processes in the LMS in PBox 6. The process of managing procurement relationships, monitoring contract performance, making changes and corrections as appropriate, and closing out contracts. Please notify the appropriate entities when work has been fulfilled and contracts can be paid. The same way you have your project change control management, you also have contract change control system. Anytime we have change control system, it just means that anytime a particular entity cannot unilaterally make a change, so you can now put systems in place so that if a change needs to occur, some committee or group of people or one person, there's a process, an established structured process through which change can occur. Don't forget, a contract is mutually binding. No party can unilaterally make changes to the contract. No party can unilaterally make changes to the contract. So, but if a contract must be changed, that's where change control system comes in place. Okay, we are somebody from this place, somebody from this party, they will sit down, they agree. You define how all of these things will go. That's part of what you have in your contract change control system. Types of contract changes: administrative changes, contract modification, supplemental agreements, constructive changes, termination of contracts. So legal concepts when managing disputes. Legal concepts when managing disputes. For example, warranty. What's the meaning of warranty? Warranty means that you have done something and you have promised to say, okay, this thing I'm doing, it will not spoil in the next X amount of time. So this happens with liability, fitness for use, and safety. You can say, this thing, it can't spoil in the next 5 years. That's warranty. Waiver. Waiver is if one particular party is giving up its rights. Breach of contract, if a particular party does something contrary to what is the contract. Cease and desist letter. This one is not going to legal issue. A letter sent to an individual or business to stop allegedly illegal activities and to not undertake them again. Often used as a warning for impending legal action if it is ignored. So how do you handle disputes? Engineer Yakin, please read this to us.
Beware, undo dispute. Beware of important legal terms, e.g., warranty, waiver, and a breach of contract that can, if ignored, have a significant impact on the project. Consult with the legal department and outside legal experts so you thoroughly understand any contract that affects your project. If your contract is not written specifically to exclude inadvertent waivers, avoid waiving your contract right by accepting a product that fails to meet standard for quality or performance, accepting late deliveries, overlooking an aspect of non-conformance to contractual obligations.
Yeah, read this one too, I beg.
Guidelines. Manage suppliers and contracts. Index and store all contract corresponded for ease of retrieval. Develop and implement an effective contract change control system. Evaluate the risk of each contract change request. Document all contract changes and incorporate any effects of changes into the project plan. Develop and implement an effective performance reporting system for the seller. Specify any performance reporting criteria to apply to the seller. Set performance milestone to monitor project progress. If work is performed at another site, conduct site visit to determine how the seller's work is progressing. Submit approved invoices for payment in accordance with the contract and the project's payment system.
All right, thank you very much. Oh, yeah, any quick question? We are done for the day. Any question? Okay. So, in the absence of question, we call it a day. We continue from here tomorrow, God willing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Enjoy yourself. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye, sir.